flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, good idea. I wrote that up. Yeah. Well, we need to enjoy the day because supposedly we got some storms coming in this afternoon. It's absolutely gorgeous out there. Okay, let's see. I don't think we have any guests here. Everybody knows everybody. Okay, so let's go over the minutes. Does anybody have any corrections, additions to the minutes?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Right into resolutions. EP1. Resolution authorizing budgetary modification department of workforce development for continued operation. Motion?
I'll move it.
Second?
Second.
Okay. What this is workforce development. She is not here today, Rachel. She's visiting the mouse down in Florida. Yeah, with her girls. So what it is, it's a shifting of money, $42,136.50. It's a budget for trainings and scholarships. It's more or less saying we're doing a good job, we're getting a lot of people wanting to do it, and so now we just need to shift some of our money. And it's not any cost to the county, it's just shifting within the budget. Anybody have questions? Yes.
The state retirement, $500 for state retirement, how does that?
Where's Bill? Bill. Okay, $500. Yeah, most of it is going to that, but there is $500 going to retirement benefits that Rachel is shifting that money within. It's only $500 for employee benefits and retirement.
Okay.
I didn't know if it was just a catch-up.
Oh, yeah, if there's a person working at a project, it's going to cover their portion.
Okay.
Because a lot of that money, as we say, when they bring it in, you've got to slot it for each job type of thing, and they have to separate it. So those people that are working that thing, they have to get the retirement come out of that.
Okay.
Okay.
So it says including additional training. So what is continued operations? What is?
Continue doing the training, continue having the training and offering the scholarships. It's just the same. It's through apprenticeships and training is what they're doing. And it's just, as they say, we're doing a good enough job getting the thought out there so people understand what we've got to offer, which is great news.
Okay, so all of it basically is going to training scholarships.
Yep. All of it except 500.
500. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. EP2, resolution authorizing the acceptance of additional capital funding through the Accelerated Transit Capital Grant under contract 006029 and amending capital project CP0126 for the Office of Mobility Management. Motion? Thank you. Second?
Sorry.
What this is a contract that covers from 2023 to 2029. And it is a federal contract, but this is state money going into it. Is that correct?
This is just straight state funding only. This doesn't have to deal with our FTA. Grant.
Okay. So this is just state.
These projects are all 100% state funded. There's no match, no.
Excellent. Yeah. And it's just an additional $494,760, 100% New York State. Any other questions? Yes.
So I saw that it says county rescue rehabilitation.
Yes, our the building that we are in is old, and so
You'll run 7.
yes, so those 2 restrooms are they need to be redone.
Badly.
Sure.
Yeah, if you've ever gone through, they'd be like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
The pipe is they're like the piping's like connected in the roof. There's toilets next to each other with no school.
Oh.
it's a communal thing.
Yeah, it's not accessible either. But the funding's also covering things like infotainment screens, which will help with our ADA requirements for people that need visuals, which is audio. We can also create a stream of revenue through those by selling ad advertisements. So we'll do that. The funding also covers dispatch radio equipment, that's currently 25 years old on our buses, so that we can be connected to the first responder network as well. Things like that.
Any other questions?
Just a,
Okay.
ATC on the, here.
Yes.
What does it stand for?
Accelerated Transit Capital, so it's only capital, not operating.
Any other questions?
No, thank you.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. EP3, resolution authorizing the acceptance of grant funding from the Central New York Community Foundation for the Office of Mobility Management. Motion?
Move it.
Second.
Second.
Okay, $1,500. It's a thank you gift, as I understand, for all that you did in helping transport people, kids.
So there's $75,000 that they're bringing to our community. The public will be able to have their input, and the first 5 nonprofits that submit their application will have an opportunity to fund the project ideas that come from our community. They're having 2 sessions. First one's tonight at Camp Survey, tomorrow at Camp Survey, and then there'll be a building session at the senior museum after that. So we help set all of that up and coordinate that. If anyone would like to come, they are providing dinner tonight. At Camp Survey, it starts at 5 o'clock.
Now, this is for 5 counties. Each county gets $75,000. Is that it?
Yes, each county will receive $75,000 to fund project ideas that come from people.
Excellent. Good piece for the community. Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. EP4, resolution recognizing and supporting the development of the Stave Mill Snowmobile Trail in Oswego County.
Move it.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Okay. I keep thinking it was misspelled and it's Steve Mill, but it isn't. It's the Stave Mill. I kept checking. Oh, it's Stave Mill. What this is, DEC a couple years ago gave $225,000 to build this trail. And what we're giving a resolution here today for is because after they built it, the trail was not included in the grant that snowmobile clubs get to maintain it. They get so much per mile to maintain it. And when after they made the trail, they forgot, oh, well, we have to also include them to be able to continue maintaining it. And I'm trying to think, how much is it per mile?
$506.
$506 per mile that they go through. So that's all this is putting them back in the grant, which is all the registrations for all the snowmobiles goes to New York. New York gives it back to us. We distribute it. So now Red Field Snowmobile Club will get a part of it. So it's basically doesn't cost us anything.
Well, yeah, we're just gonna add that this is all registration driven, it's no local taxes, not, we're just a pass through.
Yeah. Which it's good now because we did have a couple of years where nobody was registering the vehicles. We didn't have any snow. So they were starting to hurt, saying that we're trying to maintain roads, the trails, but we don't have any money because nobody's registering because there's no snow. But Mother Nature came through with us for the last couple of years. We're good.
So just give kind of a quick update. I don't know if I talked a lot about the snowmobile program. So for the newer legislators, every year we get a substantial amount of money. I believe we get the second most of any county in the state because we have the second most miles of our trails. We have a total of 10 snowmobile clubs in the county, and we work directly with each of those 10 clubs for an agreement that passes the money through from those registrations based on how many miles of trails each club maintains, and then we give them $506 per mile to maintain them for the season. And so we front that money before the season so they have funds, 70% of their total allotment. And then at the end of the season, they come back to us, they say, hey, we use this, and then we do like a right sizing or a truing up. And if they spent more than 70%, we forward them the other 30%. If they spent less or less than 30%, we just give them what is accurate and correct. And then the state either takes back what's left over or lets us roll forward to the next year where we have a little additional funds for that. Again, no local share to that. There's a little bit of administrative money the state gives in addition to that to my office to administer this grant. And we do an annual meeting here if anyone's interested with all 10 club presidents by wraps, and we have just kind of a sit down. We all talk about the program and how well it's working and where it can be improved. This specifically is an interesting opportunity where sometimes those trails require partnership of a lot of landowners, right? If you think about it, a lot of private people are letting these snowmobiles ride through their property. And sometimes the property changes hands, and the new person is no longer interested in allowing snowmobiles through their property. So then the rerouting has to take place. You come up with a new route, right? Because you need your trails to all connect. And so in these meetings, when we talk to them, this process in this grant program is very important to allow for those clubs to continue operating. Our office and the county itself has to kind of maintain the list of the reimbursable miles. So we have mapping of all that. And so every year you will see a resolution essentially updating the seeker, which is the environmental review piece, for our entire network. This also includes adding this new mileage into that kind of bigger picture of the county's network of miles for snowmobiles.
Any other questions? Yes.
So how does that increase the county liability by opening up more trails?
Clubs have their own insurance.
Yeah, Clubs have their own insurance, plus New York State has its own process. The grant runs through them, so all we do is a pass-through. So I don't have Rich here to verify it, but I believe everything is covered under some sort of umbrella policy in the state. Anyway.
It's actually General Obligations Law 357. You own no duty to protect your property from recreational purposes unless you were to charge for it. But that's how New York State covers it. How you're able as a landowner, such as myself, to let the clubs come on my property.
Yeah, I get a certificate of insurance every year from the Snowmobile Club that they go through our farm as well. So there is insurance covering it. Any other questions? Hearing none. All those in favor? Opposed? Yes. EB5, resolution authorizing seasonal ATV and snowmobile use on portions of the Oswego County Railroad right-of-way in the towns of Amboy and Williamstown. They have a motion. Second. Okay, what this is, we already did this once with the trail going from Central Square to Fulton. It is a railroad that we already own, the railroad trail, and it's snowmobiles and ATVs have used these trails for years, but we have never officially said you can. So what we're trying to do is just make it official that yes, ATVs and snowmobiles are allowed on these trails. This is not any additional trails. This is not connecting any trails. This is existing that people have been doing for years. Just trying to formalize it. Any other questions regarding that? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Okay, committee, we have a bid for the procurement of customer premises equipment to drop cable inside of the wiring. Tim, do you want to give us a little input on that?
I think this is the wiring one, or is this because I think the wiring one, this is the septic one, correct?
The septic one, no, you're right, this one we changed out of
I mixed that up, so.
That was in here, and we decided that it goes to general government.
And that did get approved yesterday.
Right, so that's approved.
So
This one, yes, is for the septic. Okay.
So we have a grant program that is a pass-through from New York State CDBG, Community Development Block Grant. That is funds that we receive to assist those who are in low and moderate income. Specifically, this program is for fixing and replacing aging septic systems. Typically, we partner with the health department or some other entity to help us understand who is the really needy folks. There is an application process as well. This program right now is actively working, and we are at the point now where we are looking to bid out the repair of those septic systems. The state obligates us to follow our own purchasing law, but also the requirements of the grant. And so as part of that, only one of the projects that we're working on are the cost is above the limit with purchasing. So as long as we get competitive bids for them and they fall under the $20,000 limit, we can just award it to the lowest one per the grant requirements. There is one that, because of the size of the project, is more expensive, and that's the one that you are reviewing and building today. It is going to the lower bidder of the two respondents, and it is actually the same company that won bid on all of the other ones. So there is a benefit, I think, to having one company working on all of our projects.
Yeah.
But we did bid them out individually.
I've kind of done, I forgot one thing, but go ahead.
So I noticed when I looked them up, J.R. Powers Excavation, they seem to, granted they're much more expensive, but they seem to specialize in septic, where Bliss Construction is just a general contractor.
They have set, well, and I don't know the companies well, but what I can tell you is they satisfy the requirements that purchasing has to show that they are a responsive bidder. If they were not eligible or able to do the work, they would be seen as unresponsive, and we would not be able to work with them. They are also requiring that they have all the insurances to provide that they will do the work as they get it.
I kind of messed up. We need a motion for this. Can I have a motion to accept? Second. Any other questions?
I have a question. You said it's $20,000. That's $20,000 per septic tank, correct?
That's correct. That's the limit. That's the limit.
And how many septic tanks are you anticipating?
We have,
I think it's
$1,000
something
an
about
hour.
five
I
on
think it's
there.
5 is the
I think it's
number we
5.
have right now.
So you look about $100,000.
Somewhere in that range. There are certain, depending on the person's income levels, there are sliding scales of how much assistance goes to them. There is a local share or portion that they have to cover as well, depending on their income levels.
So what's the local share?
Depends on sliding scale. So depending on, if they're medium income, that might be a little more. 50%
So it's not
some
like
of
a
that.
percentage.
I don't know that for sure, but I'll double check and let you know. But I do know that based on your income is how much of the burden you pay.
I thought I saw the low income is like 10%
That
that they
sounds
have to have. Yeah, they got to put a little skin in the game.
Sure.
Basically, so that yes, we're helping them a lot, but they have to own it a little bit
No,
themselves.
absolutely.
And I think that's always better if you have
Yeah.
some fiscal responsibility.
Sure.
You're going to take better care of things.
And the way these grant programs work is we apply for them, we say what we're going to offer, but typically the state will come back and, I'll say they negotiate with us, but we may say 15%, and they may say, hey, listen, let's make it 20. Obviously, the higher the local share, the portion they commit, the more projects you can do.
Sure.
But if you make it too expensive, then you're not helping the people who need help. So
Right.
this is kind of the sweet spot that the state has found in our region is beneficial and most efficient.
So this grant might go away with the Soaker project if we actually get to that point.
If we get to the point where everyone in our county has sewers, then yes, this one will. I would be very surprised. I feel comfortable we'll probably have septic
Yeah,
systems.
That's a wonderful idea.
It is.
Yeah,
It is.
really.
But,
I'm right here.
I know. Mark has promised we're going to do that.
Right. What do you think?
Gotta be positive. Glass is half full. Any other questions? All those in favor of the bid?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. I missed that we have a EP6 resolution determining that the County Route 89 Shoreline Stabilization Project is an unlisted action and will not have a significant adverse impact on the environment for the READY program. Motion?
Move it.
Second.
Tim?
Okay. Okay, so I think we've talked about this is the County Route 89 project. This is the high water money that we got through READY, which is the resiliency, efficiency, it was the 2017-2019 high water along the lake. I forget the exact words for it. This is the last of our projects. The other ones have all been completed and mostly reimbursed. This is restoring the shoreline that borders our County Route 89 from Rudy's to Burst Point. So you kind of think about that area there. If you've been down there recently, you'll see that we have less than a foot of land between the edge of our road, County Route 89, and the lake. And so this project, again, fully funded through the state program, almost, like I've numbers, $3 million, somewhere around $3 million project. We'll restore that shoreline, giving back the property to those landowners, and again, ensuring that our road is protected. If not for this project, we probably would have borne those expenses at some point as that continued to erode away and our road was in danger. All this is an environmental review piece. We were required to reach out to all the affected agencies, that's your states and your towns, make sure none of them wanted to be the lead agency on this project. Surprisingly, none of them responded that they wanted to be. So we are, this is essentially taking that on as being the lead agency of this project. We're waiting on one last mapping of one of the properties there. Rich, when he was doing his due diligence for this project, found that there was some inconclusive information in previous 70 years ago's documents that set property lines. And in order to do this work that, again, we are going to be taking on as lead agency, he wanted to make sure that those boundary lines were a little more effective or correct. So he found it, he caught it. We're just waiting for that to be updated. As soon as that's done, we're going to be bidding out that project, and we hope to see it shovel in the ground before the fall.
Let's hope we don't have too many storms this summer to get that even closer.
Well, if you've seen it, I lived down there, and I'll tell you, for 10 years or 15 years, I never saw that there was even a breakwater, a break wall along that sign there, because people's lawns covered it. So in 2017, 2019, it eroded back. I mean, it's almost completely.
Do you have a question, Paul?
Yeah. The
What, do you know what they're gonna use to shore that up?
Yeah, it's a mix of, I can send you the drawings if you'd like to see them. But it's a mix of riprap, and then they are going to rebuild some of that. These were individuals' lawns, beautiful homes. You can imagine highly taxed homes. They are going to be restoring some of their front yards back, and then they're going to use riprap, large rocks, boulders, and they're going to rebuild the seawall to make sure that it is restored.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions? Yes.
So, did the DEC look at this?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so these ready projects, the DEC was on our monthly call, so they sit in and review the project as they go along. But anything in the water, Army Corps engineers, there's another permit they have to use, plus DEC. They've been right included the whole project.
Okay, all right. So, will the water quality certification, is that going to be required?
Don't know, whatever's required by their permitting, we are doing. I don't know the exact specifics. So we are working with Barton and Judas. They're handling a lot of permitting questions. Don't know the answer. I'm going to write it down. I'll give you.
Okay.
And choose something. Any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Okay, passes, okay. Let's go into the reporting. Oswego County, Operation Oswego County.
Sure, I have several things to report on. So the first thing I wanted to touch on, and you may have already received your invitation for it. I know some people had received it yesterday. So our Operation Oswego County 74th annual meeting will be taking place on June 18th. For those that have attended in the past, it's always been a breakfast. I do want to state this year it's different, so don't show up at 8 in the morning and wonder where everybody is. It's going to be at 11:30. We're going to have it as a lunch this time. And I'm also excited to state that the keynote speaker, we're going to do a keynote fireside chat like we did last year. It'll be a conversation between myself and Rich Barletti from Constellation, talking about all the very exciting things going on related to nuclear, both the extension of the credits related to our existing plants and keeping those going for another 20 years, as well as talking about the opportunities for new nuclear for Oswego County. So it should be very exciting. Discussion there, and once again, June 18th, hope to see as many people there as possible. Last several years, we've had great turnout from the county, and I really appreciate that. Next thing I want to talk about, so 2 weeks ago, Oswego County was represented at the Mohawk Valley Brownfield Summit. This is an event that takes place out in Herkimer County every year. We were joined, so Nate and myself from Operation Oswego County were there, but we were also joined, had a good group from the county. Legislator Chesborough, Legislator Shad, Karen from County Planning was there, and it was really good. It was our first time that we've been there. It's sort of been a Mohawk Valley thing for the last 5 years, and they're trying to grow it, and they invited us. So we brought out information about Oswego County in particular. We brought information about the Spillman site in the town of Minetto, right across from the former Columbia Mill site. Had a lot of traction, a lot of interest in that property, so hopefully we'll see something come out of that. But really helped us to sort of better understand what the programs that are out there for brownfield redevelopment. You know, we know some of the tools and we use some of the tools, but we're learning all the tricks now and how these groups have been able to do this. So it was great for that. We're already looking forward to next year and planning for having a bigger presence.
That speaker, the first speaker was fantastic.
Yeah.
It really was very informative.
Yeah. Yeah, so Mel, you were there. I mean, it was pretty impressive.
It was very impressive. I'll tell you, I just took so many notes. I mean, and he did a lot of stuff about AI, and it absolutely blew my mind.
Yeah.
What he was talking about. So.
Yep. So anyway, that was a great thing to be a part of. And like I said, we plan to have a bigger presence for next year. I know I talked a little bit about this. So the Village of Mexico was the winner of the $4.5 million New York Forward Initiative for this year. We just last week had our first meeting. I'm co-chair of that with Mayor Grimshaw from the village. We met as what we call our core team. We're actually putting together now our local planning committee, so that's people from the community as well as other experts. I believe, Tim, you may be asked to be a part of that as well. I hope so, because you were very helpful for the Pulaski effort last year. But that's going to be a process that is going to go forward from about May of this year through about October, potentially into November. And so what we're going to do is we set the boundary, we identify what the priorities are, what the community is, and then we will have a call for projects, which will be the projects that were originally submitted plus new projects. And then we'll send a slate of projects to the state in October, November time period. And then about this time next year, they'll tell us which projects actually get funded. So it's a long process. But especially with, opportunities for growth in the nuclear and everything else, Village of Mexico is in a perfectly prime position to see revitalization and plan for this growth.
This is what the Village of Phoenix did a few years ago.
Village of Phoenix did it. It's I call it baby DRI. It's like half of a DRI. So like what happened in the city of Oswego, it's about half the funding, and you do about half the projects, and it's for communities about half the size. So
It's a fascinating thing to go through.
Yep. So that's going to be going on through this year, and I'll keep giving updates as we hit some major milestones in terms of amount of projects submitted. What projects are then submitted to the state. We'll continue to talk throughout the year. Other thing I wanted to touch on. So at the IDA, we are working together with the owner of the former Miller Brewery site, which is his Mike Tormey, MLT Leasing there. We are putting together a joint ESD Fast New York application. So Fast New York is the application we originally applied for funding to build out the industrial park. At this time, and that was Track C funding. So Track C is called in brick and mortar dollars. Track B is for engineering dollars. And so we're working together, the IDA, Mike Tormey, and his team, as well as National Grid, to put in an application, get funding, leverage funding from the state, be able to do a best and highest use redevelopment plan for that site, looking at all the infrastructure, looking at everything else there, and making sure that that asset is reutilized, especially at a time when Micron's coming. And honestly, that site is one of one in central New York, maybe one of three across the entire state. It's got over 1 million square feet under roof, 6 miles of track on site, heavy power, heavy other infrastructure, and it's there ready to go. So we see that as and this was something that the state encouraged us to do, knowing that site and everything about it. They're like, we want to help you guys with the redevelopment.
You said it was Track B funding?
Track B, yeah. So not literal like rail track, but like just they call it Track A, which is what they call shovel ready site. So it's more of a marketing kind of thing. Track B is for engineering dollars, and then Track C is for brick and mortar dollars. But to get to Track C, you have to already have done the engineering to prove that you need it. So that could come from it, but we need to do this part of it first. So and I can talk to you more about what that looks like. Sure. So that'll be, we've already put in our pre-application, been approved for that. Now the full application is going to be going in here in the next month or so, and we should know, probably by end of summer where that's going to go. This week, if you don't know, this is National Small Business Week, the first week of May. And I wanted to notify, because one, there's an opportunity to attend it, but also just it's important to understand. So the Small Business Development Centers, which we have, the one that serves us is down at Onondaga Community College. They are recognizing tomorrow, Universal Metals is going to be recognized as the Oswego County Small Business of the Year. And the Sharkeys and Universal Metals is going to be having an event down there tomorrow at 1 o'clock at their location for those who want to attend. If you do want to attend, just give me a name and I can let them know so that they have enough seats and stuff for people. But it's going to be a nice event to recognize them and the work that they've done and the growth they've had in Oswego County. Also a manufacturer.
Is that going to be at their facility?
Yes, it's going to be at their facility. Yeah.
How many here do you think you're going to be able to attend so that
Yeah.
Austin has an idea?
Jim, I'll be there too. Okay, right. Yeah, if you guys, if let me follow up with you. I just want to make sure that they're aware, because it's also good to recognize when we have elected officials there, when they're there. Ed, Ryan, Jim, Mel, anyone else? Okay, thank you. I will make sure you guys are on that and give you the final details. Well, that's a great thing that's going to be taking place tomorrow. They kind of keep it under wraps for a while, so don't put anything out about it until it happens tomorrow. But it'd be great to have you there. So last week we also had, and this was a project that was a long time coming. I know Mel was there and she spoke about it. Dell Drop SBB down at the Industrial Park in Schuylkill had their ribbon cutting last Monday, and this was a project that we had started back in 2022. Actually, pre-Micron announcement, and they just completed the project last week. So it just shows you how long from like when you start these business attraction processes to getting funding together and all sorts of things, just it can take a long time. So on something like the size of Micron, I'm not surprised at all that it's taking as long as it is, because with a manufacturer that's building, 40,000 square feet takes that long, definitely take on that. But that's a great project there. They are already, so for those who don't know, Daldrop is a German-owned clean room manufacturing company. They selected the Oswego County Industrial Park it's their largest investment outside of Germany in the company's history. And so they're, as of right now, they're creating 30 new high-paying jobs at that site. However, they're already planning future expansions. I've seen, plans for them to potentially do at least one, potentially two additional projects. And so they do clean rooms primarily for the pharmaceutical industry, like Merck is their largest customer. But in Germany, they actually participate and do it in the semiconductor. So they're already looking ahead and potentially looking to do clean room manufacturing for Micron and others. They're the ones who did the clean room down at the STEAM school down in Syracuse. They were the one who installed it. That is a Daldrop clean room installed at that facility. So we've had conversations with them about, wouldn't it be great if we could have a clean room training facility here in Oswego County? Talking to City BOCES and others to try to help make that happen. So nothing definitive on it yet, but I think that there could be some momentum on that.
The CEO flew in from Germany for this ribbon cutting, so that was very impressive. And they're going to be using geothermal for some of the energy, and that's we don't have that much around here.
It's going to be a showcase, honestly. It's going to be an energy efficiency showcase. They're going to have solar on the roof. I will say it's going to be on the roof of the building, and then they're going to have geothermal wells installed. Well, they actually already have the geothermal wells installed behind it, but they're a very sort of forward-thinking company in terms of when
they're in 60 different countries.
Yeah,
they're international. It's a huge company.
Yeah.
So it's really cool they came to us.
Yep. So great project, and hopefully we can get you guys down there for another event in the future. Another thing that's happening here soon, so Biospherix. So I don't know if everyone here knows Biospherix. Biospherix is a biotech company that they moved their business. This was originally owned by Randy Urden. Randy Urden, out in the Redfield area, he started this business. He moved that business to Parrish about 12 years ago. They actually took the former Parrish Elementary School and converted it into a manufacturing facility and lab space. The company was sold to another entity, and they're growing the business there. They on May 18th, and you guys may have seen this as well, and if you haven't, let me know, and I will get you the invite for it. May 18th, they're having a ribbon cutting for what they're calling the Center for Cytocentric Technology. So what they manufacture, they create these like modular, it's kind of cool. We have this like little clean room industry cluster here in Oswego County. They make like these modular like clean rooms. Like if you ever watched The Simpsons where the guy's got the gloves on going into the box and doing the thing, it literally looks like one of those things. It's like a 6 foot long box by 8 foot tall. It's all glass enclosed. They put gas and inert gases and other things into it so they can do cell culture and other things, and then they have the gloves that go into it and do it. Well, they've created a significant amount of lab space in their facility, and they're actually trying to partner with other biotech companies in Central New York and bring other companies there to utilize the space. And so they're doing a ribbon cutting on their Center for Cytocentric Technology, which is a fancy name for really nice wet lab space and incubation space for biotech companies, happening right in the village of Parrish, New York. Would not know it, but awesome story, great company. And so if you haven't gotten the invitation for that, we'd like to get that to you guys. It's going to be, like I said, May 18th, 10 to 11:30. It's going to be a great event out there. So a lot of great things happening, a lot of things opening, kind of expanding right now. Let me just see if I missed anything on my list here. I think I got it all. So, anyway.
Excellent. Any other questions for Austin? All right, let's go right and work. Well, Rachel isn't here, as we mentioned. She is out down Florida with a mouse. So let's go right into Tim. Promotion and tourism.
Great. I'll give you a quick update from the last month in tourism. We tabled at the Lake Ontario National Marine Sanctuary Film Festival, and I don't know if anybody here would like to speak more to that, but again, great event, well attended, and so much exciting things going on with our Marine Sanctuary. Hopefully you are following on Facebook some of the cool updates that we've been seeing shared throughout the county. I know administrator has been doing that as well. So some really cool stuff coming through on the Marine Sanctuary. Great event here April 2nd. We have been real active on the SUNY open houses. So we, as you can imagine, we have a lot of people coming from outside the county. Some folks out from the state, some from outside the country. And so we've spent a lot of time having staff there tabling. We do a ride-along bus program where we kind of have one of our staff tour guiding as they drive these students and their parents through the city, kind of pointing out different things and mentioning other events and items of interest in the county. And so that has, I think, been very important to get people, if they stay here on the weekends or in the evenings, one of the cool things that they can do here, some of those folks have their family come up weekends and they have some money to spend. And so it's encouraging to get them out to like the Bird Observatory up north or some of the North Shore of Oneida and other things that we do to try and really spread people out around the county. So that has been very good. We staff, some of my tourism staff are in the City of Oswego Visitor Center. So I don't know if you've had an opportunity to check this place out. It's pretty cool. It is open throughout the summer, spring, summer, and fall. It's right next to Nora's on First Street on the west side. It's downtown Oswego. So our staff there. We did also have the annual New York State Tourism Convention in Utica. And one of the highlights out of that were some breakout excursions specifically talking about sports tourism. Now, in Oswego County, we are kind of on the forefront of that with our investment in the Legends Field complex and the baseball tournaments that come out of there. But one of the things that was highlighted is that any of you who have been part of a travel sports team understand that it is incredibly expensive, and you have a lot of folks who have a lot of money to spend, and they plan on spending it between restaurants and gasoline, hotel rooms, and other ancillary items. So they're drawing attention to that on the state level, something that we obviously do here pretty well. We had our Salmon River cleanup, and that came directly out of the County Tourism Advisory Council and our sport fishing concentrated group that meets out of that. So we've been meeting with the charter captains, some of the bait store owners, and some local DEC, as well as the mayor of the City of Oswego. And we've just been meeting and talking about how can we really invest better. What do we need to do in Oswego County throughout the county to help with fishing? And one of the things that came up is that there used to be nonprofits that did a cleanup up in the Salmon River. Well, that's kind of gone away, and any of you have been up there, there's been some accumulation of trash up there. And so we organized this big event through our office, very well attended. I wish I had tried to get it for you, but we were able to take away like 5 full dumpsters full of garbage from the river. So very well attended. A lot of local people attended as well. This week is Travel and Tourism Week, so keep an eye out for social media posts throughout the week highlighting the importance of tourism for our county and in the state. And then lastly, I want to mention again that this Thursday we have our Watkins Glen, or Friday, sorry, is the weight race at Watkins Glen, the NASCAR race. On Thursday, driver Chandler Smith, who we are sponsoring, will be here in Oswego. I think most of the legislators have received an invite. I want to make sure that you saw the update, though, that I put in your mailboxes and I emailed around. Because of what we expect to be somewhat windy conditions in the afternoon, the charter fishing trip that we were going to do in the afternoon was switched to lunchtime, 1 o'clock essentially. So the hope will be that they can still get out and do the boat trip. So if you double check either your email or the handout I gave you, on Thursday it's an arrival at the marina for the fishing charter at 1. We still have 2 spots if any legislators or anyone else would like to attend. You will need a fishing license if you go. By 3:30 we should.
I don't do dark water.
It's only $20. It's well worth it.
I don't go out.
So, but we should be back at the marina by 3:30, or the boat will be. And then they're going to head over to Speedway. So 4 o'clock will be the opportunity if anybody who's interested to meet the driver. The media will be there. We'll do some photo ops and things like that. You can see some of the cool swag that they're bringing. And the race, the Speedway will have one of their cars there. Now, I think I mentioned, unfortunately, we couldn't get the actual car up here. The trailer. I didn't realize they don't really drive. It's not street legal, so they can't just drive it up here and get the trailer up and all that. So again, and then obviously the race is on Friday in Watkins Glen. So if anybody has any questions, has any thoughts, I have that update, and that's tourism. Questions?
Any questions for Tim? Okay. Thank you, Tim. Let's go on to shift into the next gear, planning.
Okay. So a couple quick updates on planning. I want to mention from last month, if you remember, and I guess technically it's tourism as well, we funded the dredging of those additional 3,400 cubic yards of sand up in Sandy Pond. And I want to let you know I got a ton of video and pictures. If anybody's interested, you can share a SharePoint. But it was really, really incredible, and a lot of good work was done. In fact, so much so that they believe that that probably was the difference between that channel opening and closing this summer. So again, they sent a huge thank you. Obviously, we can't just have emergency responses to things. And so one of the things that we're working on is coming up with a better long-term plan of how do you address that, right? We don't want it to turn into this every single year. And so we're working with that local community. And we have a monthly meeting. It is folks from my office, including myself, New York State DEC, folks from the Assembly and Senate offices, Austin, Joe, Tunt Hill Commission, some grant writers, and then all those local folks who know the dunes, they know the water, and we are working on coming up with a long-term plan of solution. Depending on the water currents and weather patterns, that accumulation of sand can be huge or it can be very little. When a storm blows through, we've seen that entire opening move. It sounds crazy, but that's the power of the lake and the currents. But something needs to be done that is a little more of a long-term plan. So we are working with our federal government partners. We had an application we put in last year. I say we, it's this kind of conglomerate of us. I don't know if that's a clever name right now, but we did apply to NOAA for some substantial funds to really dredge that entire area out to kind of reset it. They believe you can get over the million cubic yards of sediment that's there out of there. It can essentially reset the process, and it could give us potentially decades in between kind of the maintenance that we've had to do. So anyway, great news on that. I just wanted to let you know if anyone's interested in attending that, those are open, and they are virtual meetings, so you can attend as well. So that's that. Broadband. I want to give a quick update on broadband as well. In government reports yesterday, I gave an update. I'm going to kind of repeat it here. Actually, Legislator Gilson had a great question about the wireless option. So one of the things that we're kind of transitioning to, so quick reminder, 105-mile wired loop throughout our county. That's hardwired, that's on the poles. Originally, when we first started this project, the state was not open to the idea of wireless. It essentially said that the technology at that time was not advanced enough where we could serve people reliably to check the box that they are served according to the FCC's rules for who's served and who's not. Well, technology has changed, or something has changed, because the state is now allowing that to be acceptable use. And as you can imagine, it's substantially cheaper to beam a Wi-Fi signal from the top of the tower to somebody in Redfield or Altmar than to run 2.5 miles down poles to get those handful of people hooked up. And so it's too late in the game. Again, this piece of the project has to be done and reimbursed by the end of this year. But we anticipate, and I think we saw some words that the governor did, plans to include some additional broadband funds in next year's budget. And so the hope would be that kind of phase 2, phase 3 is our ability to take that backbone and spread it out to the communities that are affected. Well, the cost per mile that we are seeing to run cable is almost $250,000 a mile just to run a cable. It's substantially cheaper to put forget the exact words, I apologize, but whatever that machine is that you put at the top of the tower that beams the signal to the homes, it's substantially cheaper. So we are working with the state to see if we could potentially start to pave the way to next steps so that the next round of funding will be ready to go. So we reached out and had a conversation with Kevin Pooley, our 911 director, and we do have between 12 and 17 towers throughout this county that we own, the 911 towers. And if we can find a way to get broadband to those towers, we're already halfway there. Now all we got to do is put the stuff on the top of the tower and then put the receivers in the homes. So we are working to spend as much of the state money by the end of this year on those things to prepare us for that next step of the next round of funding in the next couple of years. So stay tuned, but that's exciting. That is something that had we known this 2 years ago, this project would have been substantially cheaper and much easier to get done.
Technology is changing by the second. Any questions for Tim?
Not the only other thing I have is just comprehensive planning updates. We are meeting very regularly with a number of our towns. I think it was last Tuesday, there were 5 different towns having a meeting at the exact same time. So Caroline and I kind of split up. I got Minetto, Oswego Town I followed up with. I know Central Square and Bolney were also meeting at that time as well, and Mexico was. So a lot of stuff going on. If you are curious about any comprehensive planning events in your communities, feel free to reach out to me, and I can kind of give you a case-by-case basis update on what we're doing. But we really are, as we update our comprehensive plan, we want to make sure it's in alignment with the towns and villages that make it.
Ben, did you have a question?
Have any of the towns or villages solicited you for any financial?
Yes, I believe we have. Caroline, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, we have, so through the I'll say unused ARPA funds. We have maybe $56,000 left to help the communities, so we created an application to help the communities with their comprehensive plans or projects identified in their comprehensive plan. It could also be like their LWRP plans, zoning, or any plan really to help move their communities forward. So we do have probably 6 municipalities who have applied, and we'll be awarding those. And I believe we have maybe 19,000 left. So we'll do another round of soliciting. So if you know of a community who is in
Can you
need,
name the entities that have,
oh gosh, off the top of my head, probably not.
shoot me an email.
Yeah, I can do that.
Me too, please.
What?
I'd like to know.
Why don't we do this? It's okay, I'll have it sent through, Skim, we'll just get it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks.
How much each community getting?
Depends. Yeah, I don't think anyone has got more than 5, but it
No.
depends on the ask.
But that's max, it's like we do max it out so that we can.
Yep, we set it at 5 because we weren't sure the need or who would take advantage of it. Nobody has reached 5. I think the smallest amount we have is like $300, and I said, can we help you in another way? Like, how else can we help you?
Yeah.
So we're helping them to increase their ask and really think of plans or projects that maybe they're not directly thinking when they hear comprehensive plan. That's what their focus is on. So we're having communications to broaden their projects to help them.
So this is ARPA funds, so it has to be used by the end of the year. Okay.
And also on that, we want to make sure we know how much is going to be spent, because there is some other internal projects. We've been talking about a countywide agriculture farmland protection plan that we haven't updated in 20-something years. And so one of the other things we're looking at is if we don't have enough to give to all the towns and villages once they've all checked the box. And we have sent it to all the town supervisors, the town planning board chairs, I believe the attorneys as well. So we've really sent that information out there, as well as every time we're in one of those rooms, we again remind them of this. If we don't have enough interest to spend it all, we doesn't go back to our pocket and lose it. So the other backup plan is that we potentially could use it either towards some workforce assistance for Rachel's project, or the other thing is that we do have a plan that needs to be updated that hasn't been with the department. We talked about that now. So we have a plan to utilize it if we get to that.
So I'll just read quick. We have Volney, Granby, Scruple, Albion, Hannibal Town Village, Mexico Town Village.
Perfect, thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions for planning? Okay. With mobility management, Heather.
Good morning. Please bear with me. I am so sick this morning.
Oh, yeah.
I have no energy, but I'm going to try and be energetic for this. So SUNY reached out, Central reached out to us and explained that their ridership at the college has been a lot lower. So we were trying to find creative ways to help with their ridership in the college area. So we created SUNY Oswego custom bus guides. This just shows from campus to Walmart, from campus to Price Chopper, from campus to downtown, so that the students don't have to navigate the full schedule if they don't understand it. It also has a bunch of things included of locations and businesses that are within walking distance. So there's a walking guide in there for the students as well, so they can walk to things that are close by. And when the tourism team did their tours with the buses, I believe they gave a bunch of these out and we needed to give them more. So they were very interested in these and using them. So that's been great. And I think there was over 100 riders during the tours.
Yeah, on our April 11th date, we did 5 tours into the city of Oswego, and we were at full capacity on every single tour except for the very last one. So we did have over 100 people participate.
It's fabulous to see us fill the buses and stuff like that, but it also got me thinking about our capital. Like, we use our buses for things like this, for things that are open to the public, things on the moon, other events for like the city of Oswego. So if this committee is interested in creating another stream of revenue, it's completely up to you guys, but we don't charge entities to use our buses like a capital fee to guys to utilize them for these services. So it's just something for you guys to consider. If that's what you would like to do, it's definitely something we can explore in the future. The next thing that I have is a letter from Department of Transportation to OCO Transportation. This is important because just like we were able to receive 7 buses from Chenango County, OCO went and got 3 buses from, I believe it was Westchester. So we're getting vehicles, they're getting vehicles, we're doing everything that we possibly can to support the services. So I just wanted to share that with you, that they're also out there getting vehicles just like we are. I did put a letter in here from the Syracuse Metropolitan Transit Council. We do have another active project for the Corridor 49 study, which they're about to present very soon. But this is a group that there is a portion of our county, like the Central Square, Schuylkill, West Monroe, these streets that's in their planning area. The SMTC receives non-competitive federal funding annually to support studies. And so if projects are in those areas, we can apply for studies and use their funding to fund them. They also will help with things that they feel will touch the areas, the surrounding areas of their project. And so Tim's office, we wanted to see if the SOCRIS, if we could put something in there for SOCRIS, and if the SOCRIS study would be approved, and if we could use some of their funding to help support SOCRIS, and they approved it. Which is fabulous. So this is the approval letter that we are going to get some funding from them to support SOCRIS. Tim had a call with them. I don't know if you want to update on
Yeah,
that
it was excellent, and actually might be a good way to transition to kind of some of the infrastructure discussion after that. But we, so we had a meeting with SMTC, went over kind of the intention of the grant program that they're looking to do, and really how would it best assist the county where we are with SOCRIS. You know, obviously we're still on the front end of it, very, very early. But if you think about our Route 49, that is essentially runs parallel or close to it to our recreational curve where the SOCRIS line is going to go. And as the development that follows that infrastructure, we expect that Route 49 is probably going to end up being highly utilized. And so one of the conversations for them is, do you help us get a feel for what could that look like? You know, with the current width of 49, the current right-of-ways here, would it need to go to 2 lanes both ways? Like, what does it look like? So we're hoping that they can kind of help us model that expected. I mean, if you look at what County Route 31 or State Route 31 looked like in play 30 years ago, it could be what 49 is today. I don't want to guarantee that, but the thought is if you put that many people, that much business and development, a road like 49 could explode. And so kind of looking at what that looks like and how does that affect our county is what I think we probably would focus on.
And let's use their money.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry, did you mention how much we got, maybe?
So they did mention that because it's such a large study, if they're going to have to phase it in, it's going to be a multi-year study. You know, the Corridor 49 took them 2 years to get that study together, and it was only a mile and a half. This is quite a bit larger.
Yeah.
So I think what they'll do is they'll probably assign and allocate a very specific amount, which will be included in the overall plan issue. And I have a meeting with them next month, and we'll get that. But they'll do a certain amount for this year, and then they'll get as far as they can, and then when they get money again next year, then they'll put it towards that next year's.
So is this state money, Syracuse money?
So it's federal funding that the Syracuse Metropolitan Transit Council receives. It's non-competitive funding, which means that they don't have to apply for it. This committee is given a certain amount of federal funding to support their projects. That's all in their Unified Planning Work Program. All the acronyms. So yeah, we want to use all of their funding for portions of our funding.
So it's federal.
Federal, yep. I did want to give an update on Jefferson County. Who's the Sandy Creek representative?
Like yours, legislator here.
Okay. So we've been working with Jefferson County Mobility Management, Watertown Mobility Management, St. Louis County Mobility Management, because they are launching their Jefferson County Public Transit System this summer. There's been a lot of coordination with Central as well up in that area, but it looks like the county is going to be doing the system themselves and hiring a vendor, which looks to be like the ARC, Cuban Industries type of nonprofit doing their service. We talked about connecting it in Pulaski, which was the original plan. They're struggling to go that far with the service hours. They want to have more frequent service. So we talked about where else in our county could we connect the system, and the idea was, well, there is another pivotal point in Sandy Creek, because Sandy Creek is a corner pocket of our community. The tops also at Sandy Creek is where our buses meet. And if you guys remember, the county fair is also right there. So the idea was that we can have the system connect right there in Sandy Creek. And then when it's time for the county fair, we will actually create a seasonal route with their system and market it to their system and their residents to come to our county fair on their public transit bus. So we want to bring in people that are nearby that area that maybe didn't have access before. So we'll talk more about that as it develops. Ridership update. So I did put a ridership update. We did have our Q1 of 2025 compared to our Q1 of 2026, and we have a 25% increase in our ridership and a 2% decrease in our mileage. And that happens because of our software. A lot of this was being scheduled before, so the coordination has gotten much better. The development of our app for using public transit has just increased tremendously. So we had roughly 24,000 passengers in Q1 of this year, whereas Q1 of last year we had about 19,000 passengers.
Nice increase.
Yes. Also with the increase, we have decreased our spending roughly $120,000 to the vendor, and that is because we did competitive bidding with one of our grants. There will be another grant, contract that goes out this year for bid with them, which I plan to have some competition with that one as well. But having ridership increase while costs are decreasing is the trend that we want to have with our public transit system. That's how we need to sustain it for the future. We are also...
If I can get for the legislators or someone over here, this is incredible news. Like this is if you had seen 5 or 6 years ago, we were this close to, I don't say being belly up, but we were losing money hand over fist on this. We had to offset it with other expenses because we didn't run enough riders and we were paying through the nose to our vendor to get it done. This is the exact opposite. This has become sustainable to the point where we're actually putting money aside and can now reinvest in development for longer term benefit. I mean, it's really an incredible opportunity. You know, Heather has done an amazing job. I think you all heard that over and over, but this is really, truly incredible. And this is a complete transformation, 180 degrees on our public transit. It's really incredible.
I know Marie used to always complain because the buses would go by and there'd be nobody in it. And now we're getting the ridership up. So it's excellent.
I appreciate that. Which is also great. We're in a triennial audit this year. I have been emailing a bunch of departments for paperwork, so it's been one of those departments. Thank you for Title VI and HR and Rich's team for giving me what we need to put into the upload. But the audit paperwork is about 150 pages, and I think I've loaded over 200 different documents in the report. They're very thorough. It's taken me a long time, but I want to make sure that we do really well with our audit, and the systems we have in place with Munis and with procurement are going to put us in a really good spot with them. They'll be visiting in June, so they'll be here next month. So we'll see them.
Yeah, this year's going fast.
Yes, state and federal. And then lastly, we're going to be meeting with Central pretty soon here at the county level. There's been some proposed service cuts in the Central Square area. I highly would love to see some frequent service cuts out there. So Central's agreed with coming into the county to meet with Bill, now Roy's and leadership to discuss alternative options outside of completely cutting service.
Well, I thought we were supposed to meet with today, but that was canceled.
Yes, I believe they were unavailable. They had Chris had something else pop up and they're trying to work with Betsy on scheduling a meeting for that. They're pushing hard.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
That is the updates that I have.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Heather? All right. Joe, you want to give up a little update on soil and water?
Absolutely. Thank you very much. For those that I haven't met yet, my name is Joe Cherivolati. I'm the district manager for Oswego County Soil and Water. And I'll give you just a super quick rendition of who we are, what we do. Our mission is to protect and conserve the soil and water resource. And we do that through a series of programs, activities, and services to the public, open to municipalities and the county itself. We are what's called an authorized agency, meaning we can county authorized agency, meaning we do business here. And we're also what's called a subdivision of the state. We fall under the umbrella of Ag and the Department of New York State Ag and Markets. And under that, we're under the State Soil and Water Committee. And then every county actually has a district. There's 58 districts in New York State. And we certainly have collaboration with the state side of things and with a lot of the other districts. And we operate under what's called New York State Conservation District law. And that allows us to do the things that we do. We have 5 primary categories that we work under, and we're very boots on the ground agency. Everything under these various categories includes projects, assistance, services, activities, down to a simple question or whatever a landowner or municipality would like to call us about. And those categories happen to be agriculture, forestry, education, invasive species, and water quality / general technical assistance. So just to give you a quick update, I haven't seen the committee since last year, so it kind of covers from late last year, but we are right now, end of 2025, into 2026, we've been certainly wrapped up last year, very successful year. We haven't gotten that annual report yet, but we'll get that out as soon as we can. It's been definitely busy. 2026 has involved so far planning and obviously reporting on last year, but also planning and for the upcoming field season and all the activities involved. Last year we did hire a new technician, actually two new technicians, so we are getting them trained and up to speed. One of them late in the year was Ben Gebhardt. He's our water quality specialist. He's been getting him trained in stormwater surveying, permitting, design, and all of the activities that that individual will need to be doing. And then our other technician, Dylan Cox, he was hired about this time last year and has been working on the invasive species programs. He happens to be certified to operate a drone business class for our office, so we will be incorporating that into some of our programs here in the near future. So I'll go through, and then one of the other just general updates doesn't really fit into the other categories necessarily to start. We just had our tree program. That's a spring sale, offers low-cost trees to the public, reasonable cost trees to the public, and we just put out 6,000 trees in April. That's pretty intense, staff-intensive program for us. Agriculture, we do offer assistance to the farmers and operators, ag operators in the county with a focus on water quality. And so one of the projects that we completed last year was a manure storage facility in Sandy Creek. We worked on the planning, obviously overseeing the construction, and then wrapping that up. That was a grant-funded project, but it is cost-shared. And then for this year, we're continuing with assistance and planning really for next year's projects. We have at least 2 best management projects to do, 2 or 3, and we'll be starting to look into other grants, potentially getting into cover crops. We're going through a little bit of a transition where we'll have a person, rather than half-time working on agriculture, would be full-time, and we'll have that time to go after some grants as well, hopefully. The Agricultural Assessment Program, that's our tax-based program that we assist with the mapping and soils aspect of that. We completed more than 35 assessments this year, and we actually had our new staff get incorporated into that and introduced them to the program and worked on sort of a training here, but it went very well. And then Ag Agency Awareness Day, that took place in April, and it's a multi-agency collaborative effort. NRCS, Extension, and FSA, we're all involved in that. And it's just an explanation to really new farmers. I think there were over 25 farmers there. And it's an explanation of what each individual county does so that we can be helpful at the times that we need to be. Forestry, one of the items that we do, we contract with the county to manage the reforestation properties. We have 2,200 acres scattered primarily on the eastern side of our county. And last year we did a timber sale on 35 of those acres that sold for about, I think it was $12,000. We did get a buyer fortunately late in the year, and we're just working on those contracts right now, and hopefully be caught in the summertime. And that sale was really, and some of it is intended for thinning, some of it is intended to regenerate the forest and get some new, new desirable growth back. We also offer forest management plans. Late last year, we completed 3 plans. We'll do that many or more this year. We happen to have a returning seasonal employee that will help out with some of that. I tend to, that's one of the programs that I work on, but it's a lot of help in the field to have that individual here, which is great. And then we'll be looking to get into more like planting, forestry implementation projects in the next couple of years. And we do have right now 2 active Regenerate New York projects as well that took place last year. Some of the work will be done this year as well. Our education program, that consists of Conservation Field Day, which was held last fall, Envirothon, that's a program that's actually taking place this Thursday, and the EDP members should have received an invite from Erica Schreiner, I think last week. And so we're looking forward to that. The high school competition, it's a great program. Plant a Tree, that's a coordinated effort with Cooperative Extension. We put out 5,500 seedlings to K through 5. So a lot of the youth in Oswego County received those, and then several other outreach opportunities that we worked on. Water quality, we have several projects really that we're just kind of, we're sort of been ongoing and we're working on lots. So we do offer the same with ag and forestry and water quality. We do offer assistance to the public. So we do have a lot of technical assists, and we may offer permitting assistance, which it's a pretty tough process to navigate as a landowner, as anybody really. So we do offer that assistance. We do have a project that we got some grant funds for in the last couple of years, and late last year we wrapped that up. It was a $30,000 stormwater study and engineering design for the village of Plastic. And now we just have to figure out how to get some implementation dollars for that, perhaps work around any wetland issues or permitting that we need to do for that, and then hopefully in the the next couple of years we'll get that implemented and solve a flooding issue that was happening, causing some erosion and such downstream that was right at the mouth of the feeder stream was the mouth to Salmon River, so we don't obviously want that sediment going in there. We have several other projects that we've been working on for municipalities. One we're doing for Redfield, where we size the culvert, and we'll be working as sort of the liaisons between them and the regulatory agencies to get to get a culvert or potentially a bridge permitted for them, and then they can move on. They had some structural failure in the last couple of years ago, I think in late 2020 for August of 2024, and they're hoping to get some monies from between FEMA and New York State Homeland Security to replace those, or to reimburse at least. So we've been offering that. We do have the staff trained in sizing culverts. We're getting them trained on several other items like surveying, all the things that are necessarily covered in college, but we're sort of closing that gap and hoping to have these folks up to speed here pretty soon, which will be great for the office. And then one big thing we worked on last year was wetland delineation. So that is something typically that engineering firms, consulting firms work on for the DEC. The DEC themselves, or Army Corps, will do that work. It hasn't been typically something that we've been involved in, but with the rollout of the regulations that are certainly a bit up in the air right now, in 2025, we were asked to participate in what's known as a pilot program, essentially, where staff from the Soil and Water District would work and really do on-the-job training or job shadowing of the DEC. So we did some training last year. We worked with the DEC themselves, and we probably conducted a dozen, between 2 staff at least, conducted about a dozen site visits, dozen wetland delineations. We'll continue that this year, and hopefully by the end of the summer we'll be an option. The goal is to have our office be an option for the public and municipalities to reach out to and get delineation done when that's required. Because even depending upon what happens with the regulations, it's still something that's always been required at times. And then We also have been working on a municipal outreach effort just to get, just to expand our, working relationship with the municipalities, let them know what services are out there, that we have grown a little bit in the staff, still pretty small, but we're a staff of 5 now, and obviously looking to maybe get some more grant funds for grant dollars, the way that we did with Pulaski and some of this other work. So that has been going very well. And then with invasive species, our water chestnut control program, that is in the planning stage right now. So really the latter part of the winter into early spring, we work on permitting. That's relatively intense. There's several permits that are needed for the herbicide treatment aspect of that, even the hand pulling program. So it's kind of a 2-pronged approach. The hand pulling program, that involves hiring interns, so we have them, the team hired, a very small team this year, just taking a little bit different approach, putting them out in kayaks for the most part, because we just need some really pinpoint accuracy with removing these plants. What will happen is you'll have a really large patch here, let's say a half-mile of river, separates the two of them. In between, you get a lot of scattered plants. That one plant can just grow exponentially, and within a few years it might fill that half-mile in, and then you've lost a lot of ground and added a ton of acres of really dense vegetation that grows and clogs up the the channel, as well as create access issues for recreation and for landowners and those coming to the river itself. So we've knocked the river down from a total of 350 really dense acres down to about 65. And so we do a treatment with a drone, agricultural drone, all permitted, and that's worked really well for us. So that is planned for this year. And luckily, we happen to be covered this year under an EPA grant that we got. We actually got a $921,000 grant for covering 6 counties in the Oneida Lake watershed and then the Spring River system. So that we're looking forward to using that. Oswego County got roughly less than half of that, covering 3 field seasons, which is really, really great news. So we're planning on treating up to 115 acres this year. However, I would imagine that will be close to half of that. And as that number works down, it's very exciting to get closer to zero. I'm not sure when that'll happen or if that'll happen, but the idea is to knock the density down, to have that hand-pulling team make up the difference and keep the control going. Our giant hogweed program, we have roughly 60 sites in the county. We've monitored about half of those, which control has really worked, and we haven't found plants in a number of years on them, but we keep that work up because they do just sort of pop up. Unfortunately, all of these invasives are very difficult. The seed is good in the soil for a number of years, and we do treat about half of those. So we hired a new contractor this year through a bid process, and that we're very excited to get this program rolling. Within the next week, really, those plants will start popping out, and then we'll be out doing our monitoring for that. And then Hemlock Woolly Adelgid in 2021, that was found at Camp Hollis in Independence Park, and we did some treatments early on for that, and now we actually did get a grant recently to cover 2 or 3 field seasons of treatments at those 2 facilities. We'll be working with the county health department and for contractual agreement to make sure we're doing that the proper way.
As you can see, soil and water is a very, very big helper of all municipalities as well as the public. It's huge.
I was just wondering how hogweed is looking this year.
We haven't been out yet. We generally don't, just because honestly, I'm sure you can find it right now, but just because there's some it coincides with other programs right now. We have a big kind of all hands on deck program coming up this week, so we typically wait till after that. So around the 10th of May or so, we'll start having 10th wagons to be the 11th this year. We'll start heading out and taking a look at that.
We have some new legislators that may not be familiar with hogweed. If you could explain how bad it is.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a plant that it's a 3-year cycle. The first year, it looks like a lot of different plants. It's very small, just a seedling. The second year, it sort of looks like a zucchini plant, and then the third year, this massive, up to 10-foot tall, huge white flowered plant. And so the issue with that, I guess it's aesthetically pleasing. We've had, people, and I guess how a guy here was really sold like an old open air market, and folks would plant it. So it was kind of appealing. However, The issue is that if you get the sap on you, it makes your skin hypersensitive to sunlight, and you can get essentially what looks like a third-degree burn immediately. So if you ever look it up, you'll see some photos. They usually show like the time frame of 6 or 8 months, and it progressively gets less less of a burn, but it's pretty terrible at first. So it looks pretty bad, and it can as we're working around it, we're extremely careful not to touch it. So, be very careful with it. So we do have some fun.
It's spelled like hogweed.
What's that?
It's spelled like hogweed.
Yeah. Yep. You got it.
Giant hogweed.
You got it.
Any other questions for Dick? Yes. Joe. Okay. All right, Mark. Joe.
I just want to say thank you. You're doing an awesome job.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Yes, he is. Mark, you will be the last, but we take the best to last. So we got a wastewater going on out there.
What do we need?
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm going to start with the longest project that we've had on the books. Phoenix County and IDA's group of projects. I want to give an acknowledgement out to Dave Turner, who laid the groundwork and framed the structure of this project. All we had to do was get signatures on an intermunicipal agreement by 4 municipalities that was revised. And thanks to Chairman Weatherup and Vice Chairwoman Chesborough, that was done. The intermunicipal agreement has been fully executed by all partners.
Yeah. And that was how long going on that? 18 years?
It was 2008 when the thought started.
It was whack-a-mole is what it was. You get one happy and the other one didn't.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was. I know.
So the project's ready to proceed into design and permitting, with construction anticipated to begin in 2017, spring. Partners are currently compiling previous paid invoices to submit for the initial funding reimbursement trial. All the money that the municipality spent up front does get paid back to them, and they're pretty excited, so we're working on that. SOCUS project. The project remains contingent on the New York State budget. The Senate One House budget included a proposed $12 million allocation, and we are hopeful this funding is retained in the final adopted budget. If we get it.
Yeah, if we ever get it.
Yeah, you got it. If awarded, these funds will support design and permitting and advancing the project to a shovel-ready status. One of the grants that we're currently working on is the WQIP. It's a $10 million grant, and we applied for it last year. We didn't get it. DEC has changed the requirements slightly and requires supplemental documentation this year. They require testing of approximately 10 to 15 septic systems, along with the surrounding area within the immediate service zones. The primary focus area includes towns of Constantia and Hastings. Those are the first two users that are going to connect. They got their districts formed and ready to go. Based on last year's survey, we did one. We got voluntarily almost 100 residents report septic system issues. Now they want us to do an outreach effort to 100 is underway, beginning with those respondents. They want us to do septic testing and test around the septics in ditch areas to see if there's any E. coli, if there's any problems. I think the hardest part of this is to explain to individuals, we're going to do these testings, and if you fail, it stays with us.
Yeah.
It doesn't go anywhere else but my office, in the grading part. I can see a lot of people saying, what if the septic sewers don't come? I'm under violation, but that's not going to happen. So I'm going to do, especially in Hastings, where I'm from, there's a lot of people under that I know. I'm going to personally reach out to them, guarantee them security on that.
So we're just proving to the state that we need this, basically.
Yes, they don't take our word for it anymore. The Valony Sewer Extension. A pro-housing grant is currently being prepared. Applications have been submitted for New York State County Infrastructure Grant and Local Government Efficiency Grant. The project has been awarded $2 million in congressional direct spending through Congresswoman Claudia Tenney. This achievement reflects a strong collaborative effort led by Chairman Weatherup, County Clerk Wilbur, the county legislature as a whole, and Director Tim Stahl. There was a lot of discussion and pushing and begging and pleading, and it came through with everybody's help. The Water Committee, which started up a couple months ago, met last month and recommended to Oswego County Legislature to establish a county water and sewer district. For administrative simplicity, the proposed district boundaries would follow the county rec trail corridor. It's one owner, we don't have to worry about multiple owners. Rich Mitchell has initiated coordination with bond council and engaged with attorneys at the New York State Environmental Facilities Corporation to advance district formation. The working name for the district is simply the Oswego County Water and Sewer District. The SOCUS project is incorporated within that district. So sometimes there's some confusion. We got a district, but the project is SOCUS. This will allow future expansion of water and sewer throughout the whole county. If you name it something general, unless somebody else has a better thought where we can get an acronym or something. I tried. I can't say that acronym. And one last thing, as we are working on these current projects, we are looking forward to the future and what will become the next projects. It has been identified that several areas and municipalities within the county are looking for water and sewer infrastructure help and have reached out to the county. Towns of Hannibal, Granby, Sandy Creek, specifically Sandy Pond, Hastings, Constantia, and Screwful, Bounty, and the Village of Parish. We are also working on submitting 2 planning grants for the extension of the SOCUS project to reach the Village of Parish and design of the pre-treatment system of leachate at Bristol Hill landfill.
How are we doing with that grant for Bristol Hill?
There's multiple grants involved with that.
Yeah.
That's,
But didn't we get denied? We applied and then.
Yeah, we got denied last year, but we got the $2 million from the Congresswoman to start with, and we got depends on how you look at it, $3 or $4 million out there in 3 other grants. So we're up to about $6 million if we can get that. The project's $7 million.
Oh, so we're pretty close to.
Pretty darn close.
All right. Does anybody have any questions? Yes.
Can you speak to the Bristol Hill grant? I'm not sure what you're referring to.
In the town of Bounty, Bounty did phase 1 of a sewer extension in there that got the sewers to the airport.
Right.
The other half of that is down Route 3, and it's going to stop or going to go past Bristol Hill. Right now, Bristol Hill trucks leachate in big tanks.
Gotcha now. I'm with you.
So we're hoping
$7 million project.
Yeah.
We have 6 so far.
We got 6 applied for. We got 2 in hand, and hopefully $4 more million coming in on the other 3 grants.
Yeah. And that's the project that we've also worked with the local developer to commit to build upwards of 50 single-family owner-occupied homes right off County Route 3 if a sewer goes by. It's a lot more financially viable to do that with the sewer than it would be to try and put in either a batch plant or a bunch of septic systems. So,
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Yeah, so it's actually covered multiple things, and it's working out great for the county because we'll save money in the long run.
Okay. Does anybody have anything else to bring forward?
I apologize, I neglected to mention, we did work directly with the Airbnb and Verbo leadership teams, and they have agreed to forward the requirement that everyone sign up for the registry. We had trouble, I think I mentioned to you last month, getting anyone to sign up because there was really no teeth. So by getting Verbo and Airbnb to essentially tell everyone on their program, you got to do this or you're not going to be able to work with us, In the last weekend, we've had almost 20 applications. So it is moving forward, and we are also working with a company that will provide us mailing addresses and a mailing process to make sure people get in the mail a series of 3 messages. First one saying, hey, this thing exists. Second one saying, hey, remember the thing we told you exists, you really got to sign up. And the third one being, here's the penalties if you don't. We really think that that will get the rest of them. We anticipate somewhere between 400 and 600 short-term rentals in this county based on software that does it. I don't know exactly how it works, but essentially that's what these companies do, and they've been able to confirm that. So we anticipate somewhere around that range. Obviously, 20 is not a ton quite yet. You will see, I believe, in one of the other committees, there's a resolution to set the public hearing for the actual collection law. Quick reminder, this is just the registry. It gets their name on the list. It costs $50 for every 2 years. This is kind of our accountability structure when we actually start collecting the tax. This is how we know who's there and make sure that they are actually paying the tax on it.
So what company is doing the mailings? Is that the company that was at Nashville?
That was the company that was at NISAC, yes. If you were at NISAC event, they were there presenting.
Decker.
Yeah.
Decker.
Thank you.
And what's the cost?
Well, it's in the law. It's a pretty strong one.
What was the question?
What's the penalty for it?
Oh,
now?
gosh.
Do you remember? It's
I don't remember, like
substantially expensive.
250 a day, or
Yeah,
like I could be making that up, but it's like.
It will be right. No,
Sounds good.
if I could put one other plug in, we have heard a lot of conversations with our towns and villages, and so I'm not sure if the city, I know the city's been actively working on this as well. We are not the enforcing board. I think that's an important thing to remember at the county level. What we do require is for them, in order to vend with Airbnb or Vrbo, which is 95% of these folks, you have to have our registration. In order to have our registration, you have to certify biannually that you are satisfying the rules of your local community. That's kind of where the teeth come in. If we find out from town or village that one of these Airbnbs are in violation of their rules, that puts them in violation of our registry, which then they can't vend with Airbnb or Vrbo. So that's kind of the support, but also the enforcement mechanism for the towns. And we've shared that with the town boards and leadership teams. So just in case you have questions about kind of how do we make sure these people are doing what we say they should, it is that. We're also seeing towns, villages, and cities are passing their own legislation when it comes to how they treat these short-term rentals. Now, again, you can't have your own registries. The law states that no town, village, or city can have a registry. You have to use ours, which means we have to have it. But you can set up the laws that govern how many people can be there, how long are they allowed to be there for, when they're there, what are they allowed to do. That's all allowable at the local level. And again, by certifying to our registry, they're certifying that they are satisfying the rules.
So it falls on the city for enforcement?
Correct.
The city that established for enforcement?
That's correct. But again, the county has no real land use oversight.
Chris?
So, so the requirement that owners follow the local laws. Smoke detectors, fire exit bar, all of that is required in rules.
So there are certain building code and basic fire requirements that every town and village, I believe, has just based on their normal laws. There can be additional ones that are put in place by communities. Town and parish just passed a very strongly worded law. Essentially, it doesn't ban short-term rentals in their town, but what it does do is require that they be at least, I believe it's 14 days. If you can imagine if you were renting a short-term rental, I've never booked it for 14 days. It essentially outlaws them in the community. So they have said what they want. They don't want short-term rentals. But again, that's a little drastic, I would argue. I think there's somewhere in between, but towns and villages have rights for that aspect.
And the cost of Decker's services?
$13,000, and that will come out of the admin fees that we're collecting off the registrations.
Annually or one-time fee?
Well, it's a one-time fee initially. We believe that, now they do offer a database service you can recontract with every year. I think we want to see that and see what kind of benefit it adds. The real benefit to us is that upfront, getting everybody on there. Once we've got them registered, biannually, we know who they are, we can reach out to them, and when their renewal comes up, I don't know that we'll need this service, but definitely.
So essentially, a short-term rental is going to have to follow the same permitting as a normal rental unit, but as far as inspections and up to the city code or town code or village codes.
And then obviously they would have potentially additional requirements if the town, village, or city passed them. Right. But yes, at least the bare minimum.
So So is that different than a hotel? I mean, regulation wise?
Yes, it's treated, I believe it's treated completely different. I don't know a lot about those health requirements within the code laws, but I can tell you.
Because they tend to be more stringent, I think, than.
Well, and if you think about it, hotels have fixed parking. They have all sorts of things that they are required to do, maybe with the health department, definitely with the state, that you wouldn't have in some residents in the middle of town and the city. So, you know, I don't think it would be the same level as hotels, unless your community passed laws that said it, so you could potentially regulate.
Any other things to be brought forward?
I just want to,
Yes.
I just want to remind everybody that April is Fair Housing Month, and we are celebrating with the annual coloring contest. We have received 130 entries with 2 age categories, 4 and 7, and 8 and 12. And they're posted downstairs at your leisure. Go and vote. I will give you 4 stickers each. They're across from the planning office. So there's 2 categories, 4 and 7, 8 and 12, and you vote 2 of your top favorite. And then we will announce the winners either at a special meeting or at the legislative meeting this month. So I'll pass out your stickers.
Again, that's on the 3rd floor, correct?
Third floor, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you everybody for coming and joining and listening to all the wonders of Oswego County.
Val, that was yours.
Can I have the motion to adjourn? Second. Okay. Okay. Does Jim know? Okay, I'll come in your office.
Well, that would have been good.
I just didn't know if you had.
So,
There's some great ones down there.
so we received money. But you didn't say it was, right?
Thank you.
You say registration. So I think
This year.
registration is expected. I am.